So today, as you can obviously, I will be talking to you about physical education and how it affects children. My purpose today will be to explain first of all the history of how physical education came about, and then the arguments for and against keeping it in the public school system as well as the private school system. This subject is very near to me since I am a physical education major, and so it's interesting to see both the arguments for and against, because even as a physical education major, I can find myself finding good points of argument for each one. First, we're going to start with the history. And the Boston Normal School of Gymnastics, also known as the BNSG, was founded by Amy Morse Homans. Amy Morse Homans was the director in 1889, and this was a really big turning point with physical education, because back then, for the higher education as well as just professionalism, women back then were not allowed to participate hardly in any physical education apart from the first elementary school. So the Boston Normal School of Gymnastics was really the first of the higher education for physical education. And a lot of the roots for gymnastics, which was what they called physical education back then, could be related to the BNSG, and also that other women professions throughout the age also can relate back to Amy Morse Homans. Now the arguments against. Taxpayers should not spend their money on physical education. This is one of the big arguments, especially that newly elect President Obama has passed a $24 billion tax bill according to Cluster Stock, and that most people believe that since our country is already in debt, that we shouldn't be spending it on something such as physical education, and we should be more worried about our national defenses or just the school system in its entirety. How many of you guys have taken some sort of physical education? Okay. Good, so all of you. So how many of you now had really bad textbooks? I know I did. I went to a small private school, and we were using textbooks way back that were published in like 1980. So how many of you guys have really bad textbooks? Okay, a few of you. And so that's one of the arguments that they're saying, is that the taxpayers' dollars should go more to the textbooks in order to help out the schools. Another point is that there's no more physical fitness testing in the physical education. Now, I remember, we had, when we were in elementary school, we had to do a certain amount of pull-ups and a certain amount of push-ups and sit-ups and the shuttle run. And if you got a certain standpoint, they give you this little badge. I see someone's nodding their head. Yeah, did you guys do that too? Like in your elementary schools? Yeah, so a couple of you guys. And so a lot of elementary schools also don't even have PE every day. My sister's a third grade teacher at Pringle Elementary down in South Salem, here in Oregon. And so she actually, at her school, they just now added a new day, so there's 4 out of 5 days. So even some schools still don't even have 100% full week, which is also another argument that for cutting back on PE is not just cutting the program entirely, but maybe just a couple of days. Now the arguments for. Students need a mental break from classes. And so I know all of us, since we're all students here at George Fox, especially during finals week, we can get really stressed out and our mind gets really tired. And a good way that people have found is that they can also get involved in physical activities. According to the Chicago Tribune, the Chicago Tribune states that when you are involved in physical activity, it rejuvenates the mind and will help rejuvenate the body as well. A philosophy that many schools have is a sound mind is a sound body. And what that means is that by having a healthy body, that we are able to pay better attention in the classroom as well as outside of it. And also, physical education teaches valuable social skills. And so how many of you guys were at recess and you found a friend and you guys always loved to team up, like whether it was 2-on-2 basketball or even just tag, you kind of have these treaties or truths. You guys remember that? Treaties, you're like, hey, I'll tag you if you don't tag me, and we'll, gang up on all these other kids. And so it teaches us, we didn't realize it back then, but it taught us very valuable social skills. Now I want to leave you guys with a special video that I hope you guys will love, and it'll also help you remember today's lesson.
It's the coolest song ever. This reminds me of that. Me and John were watching this the other day.
You guys have just been enrolled as well. Thank you.